Hello again, I'm Tripp Rogers, and this is Tripp's Take. Well, the day this podcast drops is opening day in the major leagues. Now, some people live and die with baseball, and for them, it's opening day with a capital O and a capital D. For other people, it's capital O, small d, and for other people, it's small o and a small d, not a big deal. The thing I learned from Tom McCarthy, who's the Phillies broadcaster who I worked with for a couple of years and did a talk show with, and I've known Tom for 30 years now. Baseball is a 162-game schedule, and you can't get caught up in the highs and lows of every day. Some days, it just ain't going to work. Some days, everything works. You only hope is that you do better more often than not. That's a sign of a successful team. But remember, even in the major leagues, if you hit 300, you make 7 outs. I mean, that's realistic. Anyhow, I say this because opening day means another baseball season. And as a fan of the New York Yankees, I'm excited. But it's usually with the Yankees World Series or bust. And one of the things, even though I am removed from the Yankees, I'm far removed from the Yankees, although I keep in touch with Randy Miller, who covers the team for NJ.com, I don't get to see a lot of games, but I'm not really optimistic about the Yankees' chances. Last time they won a World Series was 2009 when they beat the Phillies. They have not been back to the World Series since. And, of course, people say they had it taken away from them in the cheating scandal, the Astros of 2017 and 2018. But I don't go that far. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, they cheated, they cost us. But the problem I have with the Yankees is, they're a successful team, and I've been spoiled by their success. So you expect it every year, and fans expect it every year. Steinbrenner still owns the team, so we expect fire and brimstone from the owner. We don't get that from Hal Steinbrenner. Brian Cashman has been GM for this team for a number of years, and I just have a problem because I think it's time for a change. I think there's an over-reliance on analytics in baseball, and that's just a general comment. I'm not a fan of baseball broadcasts these days because it's too much analytics, too many numbers. I just want to sit and watch the game. I want to enjoy it. Have a conversation with somebody, but enjoy baseball as Vin Scully used to do. I mean, Vin Scully was the greatest baseball announcer. I subscribed to the MLB radio package just so I could listen to Vin Scully do Dodger games. He did the first 3 innings on radio and television, and of course he was on TV. And of course, one year I did have the Major League extra inning package. I watched Dodger games all the time because I couldn't get enough of Vin Scully. Like I said, hands down, one of the best announcers of all time. And I'm a little too young. I didn't get Mel Allen in his heyday. I didn't get Red Barber in his heyday with the Yankees. So, but I got Phil Rizzuto. Enjoyed Phil. Love Phil. Can't stand John Sterling. I mean, John, love you, babe, but it is time. And Susan Waldman, I'll never say anything bad about Susan Waldman because she and I, she's a colleague. She helped me out with a couple things. And I think Susan is just a wonderful person. And she deserved to do the Yankee games. But it is time for the Yankees to move on with their radio announcers. Because, again, and I hear this from people who just complain about them constantly. But the problem is, if they're that bad, why do they still have them? Why do the Yankees still have them? Because, again, that's who they want. I hear people complain about Michael Kay. Michael Kay is another friend I work with, and I've known Michael for 20 years. And I think he does a great job. But, sometimes in the Yes booth, it's, it's a cast of so many characters, it's really hard to keep track. And, again, I remember when I was growing up, there were 3 announcers for the Mets. There were 4 announcers for the Yankees. But I knew who they were. And they did radio and television. And I listened to them. And I enjoyed them. It was great. Now, Everybody broadcasting has to have their separate broadcasters. You've got 2 TV teams, one for this network, one for another network. On radio, you've got 3 people. You got a pre and post game. I mean, it's a cast. It just blows my mind. Of course, I never was one of them, so I can't, I have nothing to say. But I'm just saying that's the thing about Major League Baseball, and Major League Baseball is coming, and opening day is here, and I'm kind of excited. I mean, it means spring. April is a really great sports month because, of course, you have the NCAA March Madness Finals. You have baseball in its opening stages. I mean, baseball used to open in April. Now it opens the last weekend of March, but still, and maybe a little too cold to open up in the northeastern part of the country, but that's another story. I laugh about that, but it's the truth to a certain extent. You also have the Masters Golf Tournament, which is just, you watch it every year just because it's the Masters. One of these days, I will get to Augusta and see it. I've been to the Masters. I've been to the Augusta golf course. I was able to get in there many years ago and just drive down the driveway and just the scene you've seen. I was able to do that, but that was in the middle of winter. So, nobody stopped me. It was no big deal. And I also had to do a basketball game at Augusta. So I did it kind of on the way. And I just, made sure I was there though. But I would like to go to Augusta to see the Masters at some point in the future. But again, April is a great year. And also you get the Stanley Cup playoffs and the NBA playoffs starting. First rounds, not so great. Of course, Stanley Cup playoffs, New York Rangers, I mean, they're in. They got a decent team, but I think I'm going to get another letdown this year, and that kind of bothers me. What are you going to do? All right. Of course, there's the NFL draft in April, too. So who wants to talk football? Yeah, sign me up. And that is Tripp's Take for March the 28th, 2024. I'd love to hear your comments and questions. Just email trippstake@gmail.com. If you like music of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, give a listen to my internet radio station, WTRS Radio, powered by Live365.com. Join me again next week for another edition of Tripp's Take. For now, I'm Tripp Rogers. Thank you for joining me. Make it a great one.